The message of Jesus Christ is of the utmost importance, and many places in the world they simply do not have access to that message. So my family and I, that's our commitment, is to go to places where Christ has not been preached.
As a mom and a grandma, we've tried to teach our children that to follow Christ means to follow Him completely, to be willing to give up, to be willing to sacrifice whatever it takes. But the day came, our baby son, we got a phone call in the middle of the night, and he had been in a really bad car accident. Him and our daughter-in-law were in surgery, and I was that morning outside hanging out clothes on the clothesline, and an airplane flew over. And I can remember thinking, oh Lord, please let me get on that plane so I can be there and I can see my son with my own eyes. That was a hard time in our life, because we wanted to be there for them and we couldn't. But you know, just shortly after that, I watched this old woman climb from the valley all the way to the top of the mountain where we were teaching, and she barely made it, and her name was Mema Busa Busa. I remember the day that Mema Busa came to Christ, and at that moment I knew that no matter what I had to sacrifice, it was worth it.
The story of King George is a long story with many ties to the cooperative program. It was just an exciting time in our ministry to see the miracle of an old man in our culture come to know Jesus as his Savior.
I can remember this grandmother at her lowest moment in life heard the story of a Savior.
Will you go and worship Jesus with me?
That afternoon in the village, she accepted Christ. She continues to be faithful in our Bible studies and learning how to share Christ with others. And you know, if you wouldn't have given, and if God wouldn't have allowed us to go, we would never have been a part of her story. And because you've given, you're a part of her story in providing a way that she heard the truth of the gospel, and now she follows Him among the mountain Basutu. And so no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifice, my family and I have decided that it's worth it, and that we'll climb the mountains as long as the Lord keeps us physically able.
And as we do that, through your gifts, Christ is exalted, the name of God is made great, God is glorified through His plan, through His eternal plan of Christ being exalted to the nations.